Its disappearance was not covered in the media. No missing persons reports were filed, no public statement was issued. It simply ceased to exist. I was working with a government-contracted communications team assigned to atmospheric research, mostly benign things like aurora data and ionospheric shifts. I was stationed in Utah, but we monitored several remote outposts across the north. Our job was to log their telemetry and signal data. I didn't even know one of the stations was real until it disappeared. Station K-23 sat deep in the Brooks Range, completely isolated, not accessible by road or rail, only by small helicopter. I hadn't heard of it until it appeared on our internal logs, flagged as Critical Response Level 2. I didn't even know there was a Level 2. Nothing had ever gone past 1 before. My supervisor just told me to log everything and forward transmissions directly without reading them. I tried to ask what was going on, and he said, "They're not sure yet." The first anomaly was a distortion in the magnetosphere, local to the region. The readings made no sense. They bent sharply inward, as if some magnetic mass was being pulled into the ground. We thought the sensors were malfunctioning until we saw the same distortion on 3 separate satellites. The pattern was consistent and growing more concentrated every hour. After that, we started receiving short, coded messages from the station itself. Nothing specific, just numbered logs marked *URGENT with timestamps and long strings of hex code. We didn't know what to do with them. They meant nothing to us. We weren't given decryption clearance, so we sent them upward and waited. That's when we were moved to a secure wing of the building. Our phones were taken. Internet access was cut. Everything we sent out was now being monitored. People from other agencies started showing up, NSA and OAA, even someone from DARPA. They didn't introduce themselves, but they all wore the same badge and carried the same expression. They were scared. 4 scientists and 1 pilot were sent to Station K-23 a week after the anomaly began. They didn't share names, only identifiers, J, M, L, T, and H. H was the pilot. We were told to monitor their comms and route messages through new encryption software we couldn't understand. We heard their voices only twice, once when the pilot radioed in on approach, and once more when someone simply said, "Entry successful." It wasn't clear what they were entering. After that, no more voices, just the same strings of numbers and codes. On our end, we began noticing something strange. Even though the scientists were reporting data every 6 hours, our instruments didn't show anything. Weather patterns over the region went completely still. The air pressure held steady to the 100th decimal. Even the ionosphere above the base seemed to go dark, not offline, just blank, as if the sky above the station had gone inert. Then the messages changed. Instead of long strings of encrypted data, we received a single line of text over and over again. Same phrase, repeated 27 times in a row. Underneath is not below. That was the first time I felt real fear. We didn't understand what it meant, but our team was visibly shaken. We tried to contact the station directly. No answer. The scientists had stopped responding altogether. We reached out to our supervisors, who told us to stand by. The next morning, a voice came through our private line. But it wasn't the pilot, and it wasn't encrypted. It was just a whisper. One word. Open. Then the line cut out. Immediately after that, every monitor in our lab lit up with activity. Seismic spikes, light patterns, geomagnetic bursts, all coming from a pinpoint under the station. The frequencies being emitted didn't match any terrestrial source. It was like the ground was singing to something. 20 minutes later, a new message came through. But this time it was different. It was written in plain language from one of the scientists. I think it was M. It read, "J is gone. Ground opened beneath him. No bottom visible. Light continues to intensify. Requesting guidance. Unable to determine source of signal. Beginning to hear something inside my head." We printed it out and brought it to our supervisor. He took it without speaking and left the room. He never came back. After that, the rest of the team began to fray. One of the analysts started sobbing quietly in the corner. Another just walked out of the room and never returned. We received nothing else for 3 days. Then another message came. This time from H, the pilot. It was just 4 words. "They want to leave." Followed by another whisper from an unknown voice that said, "But where would we go?" The signal faded again and the weather above the region began to shift rapidly. Sudden snowstorms, atmospheric inversion, hurricane-force winds. But only in that one area, like something was holding the rest of the world back. The station's signal began to pulse like a heartbeat. On our maps, it expanded, then contracted, like a breathing lung. All the lights in our lab flickered in sync with it. Then we received the last message from the station. It wasn't a transmission. It was a scream. A full minute of a voice howling through static, repeating a phrase that none of us could fully understand. Something about returning through. And we are not the first. After that, everything shut down. Our access was revoked. The logs erased. Even our backups were taken. Our keycards deactivated. By the next day, we were reassigned or dismissed. I was offered a transfer to a civilian weather bureau and a substantial bonus. I accepted without question. I haven't spoken to anyone from that team since. I don't know what happened to them. I don't want to. Sometimes when I'm alone late at night, I swear I can hear a tone, faint and low, beneath all other sounds. Like it's waiting just below my hearing range. I don't listen too hard. I've learned not to. Whatever they found beneath Station K-23, it wasn't meant to be touched, and it doesn't want to be alone anymore.